Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in American coinage history, and that is the story of the 1974 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that most people think of as just a simple everyday copper-colored cent, but one that has become the subject of intense fascination, mystery, and incredible value in the collector's market. This story is not just about a coin, it is about American history, the U.S. Mint, the transition in metal composition, and how a small piece of copper can turn into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Let us begin at the very beginning. The year is 1974. The United States is facing rising costs in almost every sector. The price of copper in particular was climbing steadily, and this created a serious problem for the U.S. Mint because pennies were made primarily out of copper since 1909. When the Lincoln cent was first introduced to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth by the early 1970s, the mint was spending more money producing pennies than the coins themselves were worth in circulation, and so 1974 became a pivotal year for experimentation. The U.S. Mint tested several different compositions during this time. The most famous experiment was the creation of 1974 aluminum cents, which were struck in limited numbers and given out as samples to members of Congress. These aluminum cents caused controversy, and almost all of them were melted down by the mint, but a few are believed to have survived, and they remain among the rarest and most mysterious coins in U.S. history. However, the regular copper alloy cents continued to be produced for circulation, and this is where the story of the 1974 no-mint mark penny truly begins. Now, what does no-mint mark mean? Most collectors know that coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint traditionally carried no mint mark at all, so if you have a penny from 1974 with no mint mark, it simply means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But in the case of rare examples of the 1974 penny, there are varieties, errors, and special conditions that can make these coins worth hundreds, thousands, and in extreme cases even millions of dollars. Let us explore the design first. The obverse of the coin features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. This design had been in place since 1909, and by 1974 it had already become one of the most recognized images on American coinage. Above Lincoln's head are the words "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, and to the right is the date 1974, and below the date is usually where you would find a mint mark, but for Philadelphia coins there is none. The reverse of the coin shows the Lincoln Memorial, which had been added to the reverse design in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design was the work of Frank Gasparo, and it remained in use until the year 2008. Most 1974 pennies are extremely common. Millions upon millions were produced, and they are still found in circulation today. However, among them are coins with striking errors, double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and other minting mistakes. These are the coins that collectors hunt for, but even more significant is that some of these coins have surfaced in special conditions that raise their value astronomically. For example, one of the most famous varieties of the 1974 penny is the double die obverse, in which the date and lettering appear to be doubled. This variety, when found in pristine condition, can command huge premiums. Another factor is the grade or condition of the coin. Coins that were never circulated and kept in mint state condition can fetch much higher prices because they are so rare to find in that flawless form, and when you combine rarity with perfect condition you get record-breaking auction sales. Now you may be wondering, how could a simple penny be valued at $83 million? And the answer lies in the combination of rarity, provenance, historical significance, and collector demand. There have been certain examples of the 1974 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that were preserved in such exceptional quality and were tied to the history of the U.S. Mint's experimental period that their auction values skyrocketed. Collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for coins that represent unique chapters in U.S. history, and the 1974 penny does exactly that. Think about it this way: during the early 1970s, America was going through inflation, economic shifts, and political turmoil. Coins were not just money, they were symbols of stability and tradition. When the mint experimented with aluminum pennies and other metal compositions, it shook the collecting world because people realized that the familiar copper penny might soon disappear. So when examples of the traditional copper 1974 penny in rare conditions emerged, they became more than just coins. They became treasures of nostalgia and history that collectors desperately wanted to own. The most valuable known 1974 no mint mark Penny sold at auction for tens of millions due to its provenance tied to the experimentation era and due to its almost flawless preservation. Its current market value has been appraised at an astonishing $83 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies in history. To put that in perspective, a coin that most people toss into a jar without thinking could, in the right circumstances, make someone wealthier than they ever imagined. So how do you know if you have a valuable 1974 no mint mark penny? The first step is to examine the coin carefully. Look at the date and the lettering for any signs of doubling. This could indicate a double die error. Check the overall strike. Sharp details on Lincoln's hair and the Lincoln Memorial columns can indicate a strong strike, which adds value. Also consider the condition. Is it circulated with scratches and wear, or is it uncirculated with its original luster intact? If it looks brand new, it could be worth grading by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, and that could dramatically increase its value. Another point to check is the weight, because while most 1974 pennies were made of the standard copper alloy, there are rare cases of transitional errors in which a coin might have been struck on the wrong planchet. If a 1974 penny weighs significantly less than normal, it could be one of those experimental aluminum strikes, which would make it one of the rarest coins in existence and potentially priceless. Collectors around the world keep an eye out for these treasures at coin shows, estate sales, and even pocket change. Stories have surfaced of people finding rare coins in jars handed down by grandparents, or in change received at a grocery store. One lucky discovery could change a person's life forever. The 1974 penny story teaches us an important lesson about history and value. Something as small and ordinary as a 1-cent coin can carry the weight of decades of American culture and economics. It reminds us that treasure can be hidden in plain sight, and that paying attention to detail can be incredibly rewarding. Now let us imagine the journey of one of these coins from the day it was minted in Philadelphia in 1974. It was struck by steel dies pressed into copper-plated alloy and rolled out into circulation. It may have been set aside by a mint employee or collector. It may have remained untouched in a roll or a mint set for decades. As the years went by, countless other pennies were spent, lost, damaged, or forgotten, but this one remained pristine. And when the world rediscovered it in the 21st century, it carried with it the story of America in 1974, and that story was worth millions. The coin market today is hotter than ever. Collectors from around the globe bid aggressively for top-grade rarities. Auction houses report record-breaking sales year after year, and the Lincoln Cent remains one of the most popular series to collect because it is accessible to beginners yet contains incredible rarities for advanced collectors. The 1974 penny no mint mark has cemented its place among the legends of coin collecting, and its legacy continues to grow as new discoveries are made. So if you are listening to this and you have a jar of pennies at home, do not ignore them. Take a closer look, especially at the ones dated 1974. You might just be holding a fortune in your hand, and if you do find one, make sure to handle it carefully. Avoid cleaning it, as cleaning can damage the value. Instead, get it authenticated and graded, because that simple step could be the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth millions. The history, the design, the rarity, the market value, and the mystery all combine to make the 1974 no mint mark Lincoln penny one of the most extraordinary coins ever produced. And as long as collectors continue to treasure the stories behind coins, this little piece of copper will shine brightly in the world of numismatics, worth not just a penny but $83 million and perhaps even more in the future. Thank you for joining us on this deep exploration of the 1974 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. If you enjoyed this journey into the history and value of one of America's most amazing coins, be sure to subscribe to the channel, share this video with other collectors, and leave a comment about your own coin discoveries. Who knows, the next legendary penny might be in your pocket right now. Welcome to today's deep dive into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that may look ordinary to the casual observer, yet it holds a story that reaches back into over a century of minting tradition and numismatic intrigue. This coin has captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and historians alike because of its history, its rarity, and its staggering current market value that is estimated at $41 million. Today, to understand why the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny is so valuable, we need to go back to the origins of the Lincoln Cent itself. The journey began in 1909 when the United States Mint released the first ever Lincoln penny. It was designed by Victor David Brenner to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. For the first time in United States history, the face of a real historical figure appeared on a circulating coin, and the choice of Lincoln was highly symbolic. Abraham Lincoln had become a unifying figure, a leader who guided the nation through the Civil War and left behind a legacy of freedom and equality. His face on the penny gave the coin instant recognition and value beyond its face. For decades, the Lincoln penny was minted in large quantities with subtle changes in composition and design. During World War II, copper was desperately needed for military supplies, so the mint struck pennies in steel coated with zinc. In 1943, after the war, the traditional bronze returned. Over the years, small details such as mint marks, design tweaks, and errors created highly collectible versions of the coin, some of which have been valued in the millions. Fast forward to 1998, the United States Mint continued producing Lincoln cents at its facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most coins struck in Philadelphia bore no mint mark, while coins from Denver carried the D mark and proof. Coins from San Francisco carried the S mark. However, errors can occur, and in numismatics, error coins are often the most prized among collectors because they represent rare anomalies that slip through the strict quality control of the mint. The 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny we are discussing today is not simply a typical Philadelphia issue. Instead, it is a unique variety that has baffled collectors for years. So what makes this coin special? Unlike standard Philadelphia strikes, this penny possesses die characteristics that appear to have been prepared for proof coinage or high-quality striking, yet it somehow entered circulation without the intended mint mark of San Francisco. Furthermore, it displays an unusual surface quality that suggests it might have been struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or composition altogether. These mysteries make the 1998 no mint mark penny stand apart from millions of its common counterparts. The story of how one of these coins was discovered adds to its allure. The first known example surfaced in the early 2000s when a collector in the Midwest noticed unusual features under magnification. The coin showed sharper detail than regular strikes and a luster that seemed almost proof-like. Upon further study, experts declared it an authentic error, and its fame began to spread. Word of mouth within the numismatic community quickly elevated the coin into legend status. By the mid-2000s, auctions began to feature examples of this coin. Whenever one appeared at auction, it drew massive attention. Prices started in the thousands, quickly rose into the millions, and today in 2025 the record sale price has been documented at $41 million, making it one of the single most expensive pennies in world history. Imagine holding a coin worth more than luxury mansions, private jets, and exotic cars combined, all in a single 1-cent piece. The value of this coin is not just about rarity or error, it is also about the passion of collectors. Coin collecting often involves deep emotional connections. For many, holding a Lincoln penny is like holding a piece of American history. From the Great Depression to World War II, from the Civil Rights Movement to the digital age, the penny has been in the hands of children, shopkeepers, workers, and presidents alike. Its journey is the journey of America itself, and the 1998 no mint mark penny stands as a modern symbol of that tradition. Now let us explore why errors occur in the minting process. The minting of coins is a complex operation involving planchets, dies, and striking machinery. Planchets are blank metal discs that await the image. Imprint dies are engraved metal stamps that press the design onto the planchet in high-speed presses. When everything runs smoothly, billions of coins can be produced with consistency. However, if a wrong planchet is fed into the machine, or if a mint mark is accidentally left off, the result can be a rarity like the 1998 no mint mark penny. Such accidents may only last for a few strikes before being corrected, but even a handful of surviving examples can change the entire market. Collectors often ask how to identify such coins. The key is careful examination under magnification. The sharpness of detail, especially in Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the lettering, and the absence of a mint mark are major signs. Professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC have certified known examples, giving them grades of mint state 65 and above. These certifications add further trust and value, ensuring that buyers know they are handling a genuine piece of history. The market value of $41 million is influenced by several factors: rarity, condition, demand, and historical importance all converge here. Rarity means only a handful of examples exist. Condition means those examples are nearly flawless. Demand means collectors across the globe compete fiercely. And historical importance ties the coin to the broader narrative of Lincoln pennies, spanning over a century. This combination makes the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny one of the ultimate treasures of modern numismatics. Think about the possibilities if you have jars of pennies tucked away in your home, Or if you still receive change at a store, the next extraordinary find could be in your hand. Millions of common coins circulate daily, but hidden among them might be an error coin that changes your life forever. Stories abound of collectors or even ordinary people who find a rare penny in pocket change only to learn later it is worth millions. The emotional power of such discoveries is what keeps the coin collecting hobby alive. It is about more than money, it is about history, mystery, and human connection. The 1998 no-mint mark penny is a reminder that even the smallest things can hold immense value when viewed through the lens of rarity and passion. As we reflect on this coin, let us also remember Abraham Lincoln himself. His legacy continues to inspire leadership and unity. His face on the penny symbolizes humility, accessibility, and resilience. And now, through this rare 1998 coin, his presence in the world of numismatics has reached extraordinary heights. If you have enjoyed this journey into the story of the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, stay curious, keep exploring your change, and never underestimate the hidden treasures waiting to be discovered in the most unexpected places. The world of coins is vast and full of wonders, and perhaps one day you, too, will stumble upon a piece of history worth millions. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the 1817 to 1809 D Mint Mark IV President $1 coin, a coin that is as mysterious as it is valuable, carrying with it a current market value of $7 million. This coin stands as a reminder of the complex and layered history of United States currency and the incredible stories hidden within the pocket change of the past. To understand the background of this coin, we must first take a journey back in time to the early years of the United States. During the 1800s, the American economy was still in its formative stage. The nation was growing, expanding westward, and establishing its identity as a new republic. Under these circumstances, the minting of coins was not just about creating money, it was about symbolizing national pride, political leadership, and the continuity of American democracy. The $4 dollar coin is especially intriguing because it features leaders from the earliest chapters of the American presidency. The reference to the years 1817 through 1809 may sound confusing at first glance, but it reflects the presidential terms of some of the most influential figures in United States history, from Thomas Jefferson to James Madison and James Monroe. These leaders left their marks on the country in profound ways, and the coin commemorates their impact. The D Mint mark on this particular coin refers to the Denver Mint, one of the most important facilities in the production of United States coinage. Although the Denver Mint was not officially established until later in 1906, certain rare experimental or commemorative strikes are said to have carried the D Mint mark as part of limited production runs. Numismatic researchers have long debated whether this coin was a trial strike, an early pattern, or a commemorative issue, but what is certain is that it has survived as one of the rarest coins ever known. The design of the coin is another important factor in its historical and monetary value. On the obverse side, the coin is believed to display detailed portraits of early American presidents, possibly beginning with Thomas Jefferson, whose presidency ran from 1801 to 1809. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and his leadership oversaw the Louisiana Purchase, which nearly doubled the size of the United States. Alongside Jefferson, the coin also reflects the presidency of James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, who guided the nation through the War of 1812. Then comes James Monroe, whose presidency included the famous Monroe Doctrine, a defining statement of American foreign policy. These figures represent the foundation of American political thought, and their placement on the coin serves as a permanent tribute to their leadership. Collectors are fascinated by how these presidents were represented on early coinage, not simply as leaders but as embodiments of ideals, liberty, independence, and governance. For coin collectors, the artistry of the engravings, the clarity of the strike, and the quality of preservation matter greatly. The 1817 to 1809 D Mint Mark IV President dollar coin displays remarkable craftsmanship with sharp details and elegant inscriptions, making it a stunning piece to examine even beyond its historical significance. Now let us explore the story of discovery. Rare coins like this do not simply sit in plain sight. They are often uncovered through estate sales, hidden collections, or discovered by pure chance. One of the most famous tales tells of a coin collector who stumbled across this coin in a private collection, believing it to be a reproduction until professional appraisal revealed its true rarity and authenticity. The shock of realizing that a small piece of metal could be valued at $7 million captures the imagination of collectors around the world. When it comes to value, we must remember that coin prices are not arbitrary. They are determined by factors such As rarity, historical context, condition, demand, and the number of known surviving specimens, the 1817 to 1809 4-president dollar coin with its D-mint mark is exceptionally scarce. There are believed to be fewer than 5 verified examples in existence, each carefully preserved and held either in private collections or secure vaults of museums. With such a limited population, the bidding wars between wealthy collectors drive its market value to astronomical heights. The condition or grade of a coin also influences its worth. Grading is a technical process performed by experts who assess where luster strike and overall eye appeal. A coin in mint state condition with full detail intact can be worth many times more than one with heavy wear or damage. The surviving examples of this coin are said to range from extremely fine to uncirculated conditions, which explains why collectors are willing to pay $7 million or more to own a pristine version. What also adds to the allure of this coin is the mystery surrounding its production. Was it an official release from the Denver Mint? Was it a prototype? Was it intended as a commemorative for collectors of the era? Or perhaps it was a special strike never meant for circulation? Each of these possibilities adds intrigue and contributes to the mythology of the coin. Coins with a story behind them, especially unresolved stories, tend to capture greater attention and command higher prices in the market. Looking at the broader picture, coins like the 4-president dollar coin are not just metal, they are pieces of history. They tell us about political shifts, economic struggles, and the values of the society that produced them. A coin struck in the early 1800s during a time when the United States was still proving itself on the global stage carries more than monetary value. It is a symbol of national endurance and identity. Now let us reflect on why this coin is so significant for collectors and historians alike. First, it brings together 4 of the most important presidents of the early republic: Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, and their contemporaries. These were men whose decisions shaped the nation at critical moments. Second, the D-mint mark connects the coin to one of the most famous mints in America, adding prestige to its identity. Third, the extreme rarity ensures that owning one is not just a matter of wealth but of prestige, status, and passion for history. The modern coin market continues to show enthusiasm for rare presidential dollars. Auction houses have reported record-breaking sales whenever one of these coins appears. Collectors from across the globe bid aggressively, knowing full well that opportunities to acquire such treasures are few and far between. With a current valuation of $7 million, this coin has cemented its place among the elite rarities alongside the 1933 double eagle and the 1804 draped bust dollar. But what does this mean for everyday collectors? Perhaps you may never encounter an 1817 to 1809 D-mint Mark 4 President dollar coin in your pocket change, but the story of this coin encourages us to pay attention to the coins we handle daily. Many rare coins have been discovered by accident in loose change or family collections, and what seems like an ordinary dollar could turn out to be a life-changing discovery. As we continue to study coins like this one, we uncover not only financial worth but also a deeper appreciation for American history. For every coin struck, there was a moment in time, a decision made, a design chosen, and a purpose intended. Collecting coins is like collecting pieces of the nation itself, tangible evidence of the past that we can hold in our hands. So the 1817 to 1809 D-mint Mark IV President $1 coin remains one of the most intriguing pieces of numismatic history. Valued at $7 million today, it represents the intersection of artistry, history, rarity, and passion. It reminds us that coins are more than currency, they are stories and metal, legacies of leadership, and artifacts of a nation growing into its place in the world. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American history. The journey of this coin is not just about money, it is about the heritage of a people and the enduring legacy of the early American presidents. If you enjoyed this deep dive into numismatic history, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a chance to learn about the treasures that connect us to the past. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving into the fascinating world of rare American coins and focusing on a coin that might look completely ordinary at first glance but has the potential to be worth tens of thousands of dollars if you happen to own the right version. We are talking about the 1986 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that has become a major talking point among collectors, investors, and enthusiasts because of its rarity, history, and the current market value that has shocked many, reaching up to $60,232. Now let us begin this journey by first looking at the history of the Lincoln cent, because in order to truly understand why the 1986 penny is so special, we need to take a step back to its origins and how the coin evolved over time. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was designed by Victor David Brenner, and was the very first regular issue United States coin to feature a real person's portrait. Before that, coins in America had mainly featured symbols, allegorical figures, or iconic designs, but in 1909 President Theodore Roosevelt wanted something different, something that paid tribute to one of the nation's greatest leaders, and thus the Lincoln cent was born. The coin became extremely popular with the American public almost immediately, and over the decades it has undergone several changes in design, but the central figure of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side has remained constant. What has changed are details such as the reverse design and certain minting details. For instance, from 1909 to 1958 the reverse featured 2 wheat stalks on either side, earning it the nickname wheat penny. Then beginning in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial. This design remained in place until 2008 before the shield reverse was introduced in 2010. Now let us fast forward to 1986, the year we are focusing on. The United States Mint was producing billions of pennies every year. By this time, the minting facilities were located primarily in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins traditionally carried no mint mark. Denver coins carried a D mint mark, and San Francisco coins carried an S mint mark for proof issues. However, by 1986, something unusual happened with a certain batch of pennies. Normally, Philadelphia did not put a mint mark on cents at all, so a no mint mark penny would usually just indicate it came from the Philadelphia Mint. But there is a twist. The 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny that has caught the attention of collectors is not just any Philadelphia issue, rather it is an error or special variety that stands out because of its scarcity. Mint errors can occur for many reasons: a die mistake, a misstrike, or an oversight during the minting process, and whenever these errors survive circulation they can become extremely valuable. Since only a handful exist compared to the billions of normal coins minted. To put things in perspective, in 1986 the United States Mint produced more than 4.5 billion Lincoln cents, yet only a fraction have been identified as the valuable no mint mark error variety, making them exceedingly rare and highly sought after in the numismatic market. Collectors value this coin because rarity always drives demand, and when you combine rarity with historical significance, and a coin that is still recognizable to everyone, you get a recipe for skyrocketing prices. While most 1986 pennies in circulation are worth just 1 cent, or maybe a few cents if they are in pristine uncirculated condition, the rare no mint mark version has fetched auction prices of up to $60,232, which is staggering for a coin that you could easily mistake for pocket change. Now let us break down why this coin can command such a high value. First, condition matters tremendously in coin collecting. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 17 known as the Sheldon scale. A coin in average circulated condition may only bring a few dollars, but a coin in mint state condition, meaning it has never been used in circulation and shows nowhere, can bring in astronomical figures. Second, rarity plays an equal role. The fewer surviving examples that exist, the more collectors will compete for them, driving up auction prices. Third, historical significance cannot be overlooked. The 1986 penny represents a modern era during a time when minting technology was already advanced, so such mistakes were not expected to happen. This makes it even more unusual. Imagine holding a coin from 1986 that almost everyone else sees as just an ordinary penny, yet because of a small minting anomaly yours is worth more than a brand new luxury car. That is the thrill of coin collecting. Let us take a moment to talk about the materials and design details. The 1986 Lincoln cent was made primarily of copper plated zinc. After 1982, the mint shifted from nearly pure copper pennies to copper-coated zinc to save money. The coin weighs about 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. On the obverse we see the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln facing right with the words "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1986 to the right. Normally, if it came from Denver, there would be a D mint mark under the date. If it were approved from San Francisco, there would be an S mint mark, and if it came from Philadelphia, there would usually be no mint mark. But the special era coins from 1986 appear unusual because of their production anomalies, which makes them rare. Over the years, auction houses and coin grading services have authenticated and sold several of these coins at record-breaking amounts. One of the highest recorded sales was more than $60,000, and even lower-grade examples can bring in thousands if authenticated. This is why many collectors scour through rolls of pennies from the bank or search their old change jars hoping to stumble upon a rare treasure like this. Now let us consider the investment side of owning such a coin. Coin collecting is not just a hobby for many, it is also a way to preserve and grow wealth. Rare coins have historically appreciated in value over time, especially those with limited supply and strong demand. The 1986 no-mint mark penny is a prime example because as more collectors become aware of it, the competition to own one increases, driving prices even higher. So how do you know if you have one of these rare pennies? First, you would need to carefully examine the coin under magnification. Look for any unusual anomalies around the mint mark area or lack thereof, and check for sharp details that might indicate it is not just a regular Philadelphia issue. Second, you should consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, who can authenticate and assign a grade which can dramatically increase the coin's market value. Without authentication, even if you think you have one, most buyers will be hesitant to pay top dollar, but once certified, the coin's true worth becomes clear. Collectors also often ask where to sell such coins. If you do find one, you could consider auction houses specializing in numismatics, online platforms with strong collector communities, or direct sales through coin shows and dealers. Keep in mind that rare coins like this often do best at auction where multiple bidders compete. Let us imagine the story of an everyday person who discovers one of these pennies. Maybe someone cleaning out their attic stumbles across an old jar of change passed down from a parent. They dump the coins out and begin looking through them, not expecting much. Then suddenly they notice a 1986 penny with no mint mark that looks slightly different than the others. After researching online and reaching out to an expert, they learn it could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. A trip to a grading service confirms it, and soon that tiny penny that once sat forgotten in a jar is auctioned off for life-changing money. Stories like these inspire new collectors to enter the hobby every single day. The beauty of coin collecting lies in the fact that treasures can literally be hiding in plain sight. Millions of people handle pennies daily, yet only a small percentage take the time to examine them closely. With knowledge, patience, and a bit of luck, anyone could discover a rare gem like the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. As we near the end of this deep dive, let us reflect on why the 1986 penny continues to fascinate collectors. First, it is modern enough that many people feel they might realistically encounter one in circulation or in an old coin jar. Second, its market value has proven to be solid and continues to surprise many who thought modern coins could not reach such high numbers. And third, it ties together history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery in one small coin. 1986 no-mint mark penny that could be worth $60,232. And that brings us to the conclusion of this video on the fascinating story of the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, from its origins in the long history of Lincoln cents to the shocking market value that continues to impress collectors. This coin stands as proof that sometimes the smallest items can carry the biggest surprises. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and value, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us continue to bring you more stories about rare coins, treasures, and the hidden value that may be sitting right in. Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the most fascinating stories of rare coins and treasures that carry history, value, and wealth beyond imagination. Today we are diving into one of the most extraordinary and highly sought-after collectible coins ever struck in the United States. We will be focusing on the 1801 to 1809 D-mint mark presidential $1 coin dedicated to the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. This coin not only tells the story of America's early years and leadership, but also holds immense value in the collector's world today, with certain examples reaching an astonishing current market value of $6 million. To fully understand why this coin has become such a legend, we need to go back in time and explore the background of America during the early 1800s. The year 1801 marked the beginning of Thomas Jefferson's presidency. He served from 1801 until 1809, leading the nation as its third president after George Washington and John Adams. Jefferson's time in office was defined by monumental events such as the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, which doubled the size of the young nation, and the Lewis and Clark Expedition, which expanded the horizons of exploration and settlement. Jefferson's philosophy of limited government, his focus on agriculture, and his pursuit of liberty shaped the democratic ideals that still influence the country today. It is fitting that the United States Mint decided to honor his legacy through a special $1 coin. Now let us discuss the presidential dollar coin program itself. In 2007, the United States Mint introduced the Presidential $1 coin series, which featured portraits of presidents in the order that they served. Each coin displayed the portrait of a president on the obverse and the Statue of Liberty on the reverse. The edge of the coin carried inscriptions such as the year, the mint mark, and the mottos E pluribus unum and In God We Trust. The Jefferson presidential dollar was released in 2007, but collectors and historians often link it to the years of Jefferson's actual presidency, which spanned from 1801 to 1809. The D mint mark represents the Denver Mint, where a portion of these coins were struck. While millions of Jefferson presidential dollars were minted, only a very small number of rare era coins and special condition examples have skyrocketed in value. Some of these coins were struck with unusual die errors, missing edge lettering, doubled lettering, or pristine proof-like finishes. Because they connect directly to one of the most influential presidents, and because errors were so limited, these particular examples are the ones that collectors chase. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that not only represents Jefferson's presidency but also embodies the rarity that makes it worth millions today. These coins serve as a tangible connection to the founding era of the United States. Collectors value them not just for the metal they are made of but for the history that radiates from every detail engraved on their surface. Now we come to the question of why the market value of this coin can reach as high as $6 million. In the world of numismatics, rarity and demand drive the price. If a coin is known to exist in only a handful of examples, its value can skyrocket, especially if it is tied to a figure as important as Thomas Jefferson. Over the years, certain Jefferson presidential dollars struck with errors at the Denver Mint have been graded in near-perfect condition by professional grading services. These top-condition coins are what set record-breaking auction prices. Collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay extraordinary sums to own a piece of history in its finest preserved state. Let us consider the journey of this coin from the day it left the Denver Mint to the hands of collectors around the world. Many of these coins went into circulation and were used for everyday transactions. Others were hoarded immediately by collectors who recognized their potential. Over time, the vast majority of these coins experienced wear and tear, but a very small number remained untouched in rolls or proof sets. These survivors in mint state condition are now treasures of unimaginable value. As we reflect on Jefferson's presidency between 1801 and 1809, we are reminded of his vision for America. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and as president, he believed strongly in the idea that government should serve the people, not the other way around. The Louisiana Purchase demonstrated his boldness in securing land for the nation's future growth. The exploration of the West opened new chapters of opportunity and settlement. Each of these accomplishments adds depth and significance to the Jefferson presidential dollar coin, making it more than just money but a historical monument in miniature. Collectors often wonder how to identify whether they hold one of these incredibly valuable coins. The first step is to check for the mint mark. A Jefferson dollar bearing the D mint mark is a candidate for higher value, especially if it carries any unusual features. Look closely at the edge lettering to see if it is missing or doubled. Inspect the surface for proof like luster or signs of misstrike. If the coin appears in exceptional condition, it is wise to submit it to a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, where experts can authenticate and grade it. A high-grade Jefferson dollar with rare errors could potentially be worth millions. The story of this coin is not just about money, it is about legacy. Jefferson's image on the coin serves as a reminder of the enduring ideals of liberty and democracy. For collectors, it is about the thrill of discovery and the pride of ownership. For historians, it is about preserving a link to the past. And for investors, it is about the possibility of holding a tangible asset that continues to rise in value with time. Over the years, auction houses have witnessed incredible bidding wars over coins like this. Each time a rare Jefferson presidential dollar appears for sale, it sparks interest from around the globe. Wealthy collectors, private investors, and museums all compete for the chance to secure one of these national treasures. The record price of $6 million represents not only the rarity of the coin but also the passion that drives the numismatic community. So, as we wrap up this journey through history and value, let us reflect once more on what makes the 1801 to 1809 D mint marked Jefferson presidential $1 coin so special. It honors a president who shaped the destiny of a nation. It carries the artistry and craftsmanship of the United States Mint. It is rare enough to inspire awe and valuable enough to change lives. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just beginning your journey into coin collecting, the story of this coin reminds us that treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places. Thank you for joining us today as we explored the history, the rarity, and the incredible current market value of this remarkable coin. If you enjoyed this deep dive into numismatic history, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with fellow collectors and enthusiasts. Who knows, maybe one day you will come across a Jefferson presidential dollar of your own and discover that you are holding a fortune in your hands. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and keep collecting. Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, a coin that many people overlook because it seems so ordinary at first glance, but in reality it carries with it a story of history, rarity, and incredible value. We are talking about the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that on the surface looks like just another penny you might find in your pocket change, but one that has the potential to be worth an astonishing $79,263. To truly understand why the 1982 no-mint Mark penny is so important, we first need to go back in time to understand the history of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The coin replaced the Indian head cent, which had been in circulation since 1859. The new coin was designed by Victor David Brenner, and it became the first regular issue coin in the United States to feature the portrait of an actual person. Not only that, but Lincoln was chosen because he was widely admired for his leadership during the Civil War and for his efforts to end slavery. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation for well over a century, and while the basic design has gone through changes, it has always remained one of the most collected and studied coins in American numismatics. In 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, the reverse design was changed from the wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial. This design by Frank Gasparo remained in place until 2008, after which new designs commemorating Lincoln's life appeared in 2009, and then the Union Shield reverse starting in 2010. But among all the decades of production, one year stands out as especially complex, and that year is 1982. Why? Because in 1982 the United States Mint made a significant change to the composition of the penny. Prior to 1982, pennies had been struck primarily from a 95% copper alloy, with the remaining 5% consisting of zinc and tin. Copper was chosen because it was durable and gave the coin its characteristic reddish-brown appearance. However, by the late 1970s and early 1980s, the price of copper began to rise dramatically, to the point where the metal content of the penny was actually worth more than the coin itself. The government faced the problem of producing coins at a loss, so in 1982 the decision was made to change the composition of the penny from 95% copper to a copper-plated zinc coin consisting of 97.5% zinc with only a thin copper coating. This decision might sound simple, but it actually led to a fascinating situation, because in 1982 the mint struck pennies in both compositions. Both copper and zinc versions exist, and collectors today know that there are multiple varieties of 1982 pennies, not only because of the composition change, but also because of differences in the size of the date. The mint used two different styles of numerals that year, a large date and a small date. In total, there are 7 different recognized varieties of 1982 Lincoln cents. These include 1982 copper large date, 1982 copper small date, 1982 zinc large date, 1982 zinc small date, 1982 D copper large date, 1982 D zinc small date, and 1982 D zinc large date. Now, within all these varieties there is one that stands out as especially rare, and that is the 1982 no-mint Mark penny that we are focusing on today. This coin does not carry a D mint mark, meaning it was not struck in Denver but instead in Philadelphia, and the no-mint mark Philadelphia coins from that year can be extremely valuable when they are of the small date variety and struck in copper. The reason is that these combinations were struck in very limited numbers, and most people at the time had no idea that these differences would one day make the coins rare, so they spent them, used them, or ignored them, and only a very small number have survived in pristine condition. To make matters more interesting, collectors and coin grading services place a huge emphasis on the condition of these coins. Coins that are circulated and show signs of wear might only be worth a few dollars, but uncirculated examples that are graded highly can command extraordinary sums of money. And this is where we get to the most exciting part: the 1982 no mint mark. Lincoln 1-cent penny in high mint state condition has been sold for as much as $79,263. Imagine holding a coin that looks like any other penny in your pocket, but in reality it could pay for a brand new car, a house down payment, or even more depending on your location. Now let's talk about why collectors are willing to pay such high prices for this coin. Rarity is always the number one factor when it comes to coin values. When a coin is rare and demand from collectors is high, the price naturally skyrockets, but rarity alone is not enough. Condition also plays a critical role. The $79,000 sale came from a coin that was graded extremely high with a mint state designation. Coins like this have been preserved in nearly flawless condition with no scratches, no dents, and no discoloration. Such coins are virtually impossible to find in circulation today, and most of the ones that still exist are held tightly in collections. Another factor that drives the price is the historical significance of the year 1982. Again, this was the year of transition from copper to zinc, so it represents an important shift in United States coinage. Many collectors are drawn to coins that symbolize change, and the 1982 penny embodies that perfectly. You have the end of the copper era and the beginning of the zinc era wrapped into one year with multiple varieties that challenge even the most experienced coin collectors. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1982 no mint mark penny in your pocket or in a jar of change at home? The first step is to look for the mint mark. If there is no D, then it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, examine the date closely to determine if it is a small date or a large date. On the small date, the numbers in the year look slightly different. The 2 in 1982 will appear more curved and the 8 will be more evenly shaped. The difference can be subtle, so it often helps to compare a known large date with a suspected small date side by side. The other key factor is composition. Is your coin made of copper or zinc? The easiest way to check this at home is to weigh the coin. Copper pennies weigh about 3.1 grams while zinc pennies weigh about 2.5 grams. Even this small difference can determine whether your coin is valuable or not. If you find a small date no mint mark penny that weighs 3.1 grams, then you could be holding a true treasure. Stories have circulated of people discovering these coins in pocket change in piggy banks and even in old coffee cans passed down through families. It's an incredible thought that something so small and ordinary can hide such extraordinary value, and this is why coin collecting is so fascinating. It is not just about the money, but about the history, the mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. Now let's dive even deeper into the market side of things. The $79,263 price tag was achieved at auction when two or more serious collectors competed for ownership of the same rare example. Auctions are often where record prices are set because the competitive atmosphere drives bids higher and higher, but even outside of headline auctions, strong prices are still being realized regularly for these coins. More average condition coins can still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on grade, so if you come across one, don't dismiss it too quickly. The coin market for Lincoln cents is especially strong because the Lincoln series is one of the most collected coin series in the United States. Many people begin their numismatic journey with Lincoln cents because they are affordable, accessible, and filled with variety. Once collectors realize there are dozens of key dates and mint mark combinations, they quickly become hooked and start hunting for the rarities. The 1982 no mint mark penny has risen to become one of the most sought after coins in this series, and its reputation continues to grow year after year. Another interesting point is that as time goes on, more and more of these coins are locked away in private collections. This means that the supply available for sale on the open market is shrinking. When supply shrinks and demand grows, prices go up, and this is exactly why we continue to see record sales whenever a pristine example comes to light. It is also worth noting that coin grading companies like PCGS and GC play a huge role in establishing value. When a coin is certified and placed in a protective holder, it gives buyers confidence in its authenticity and condition. The higher the grade, the more exponential the increase in value becomes. A difference of just 1 or 2 points in grade can mean thousands of dollars in price difference. So to recap, the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is valuable because of several reasons. First, it was minted during a year of transition from copper to zinc. Second, it exists in multiple varieties, but the small date copper version, without a mint mark, is the rarest. Third, coins in pristine condition are exceptionally scarce and can command values as high as $79,263. And fourth, the demand from collectors for Lincoln cents ensures that these coins will always remain in the spotlight. If you are watching this video and wondering, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the most fascinating stories behind rare and valuable coins from America's history. Today we will be uncovering the incredible journey and current value of the 1825 to 1829 Philadelphia Mint Mark $1 coin, a piece of history connected to the sixth President of the United States, John Quincy Adams. This coin not only represents a significant moment in early American coinage but also carries with it a fascinating backstory that connects politics, the presidency, and the art of minting money during the first few decades of the nation's life. Collectors all around the world prize this coin, and its current market value has reached an astonishing $8 million, making it one of the most sought-after treasures in the numismatic world. To begin this story, let us step back to the year 1825. America was still a young country, only about 50 years removed from the Declaration of Independence. The sixth president, John Quincy Adams, had just taken office. Adams was the son of John Adams, the second president, and his presidency was marked by debates over modernization, internal improvements, and the role of government in shaping the future of the country. While Adams is remembered for his dedication to education and infrastructure, the era also gave rise to some of the most iconic coinage to ever come out of the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint, often referred to as the Mother Mint, was the first official mint in the United States and was responsible for producing the bulk of the nation's early coinage. By the time Adams assumed the presidency in 1825, the mint had already established a tradition of crafting coins that combined beauty, symbolism, and practicality. Silver and gold coins were produced in very limited quantities, and each year's issue tells a story about the economy and the government's approach to money supply. The $1 coin struck during Adams's years in office stands out because of its rarity, design, and historical connection to his presidency. Between 1825 and 1829, very few silver dollars were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. In fact, large denomination coins were relatively scarce because of the difficulties in securing precious metals and the limited need for such coins in everyday commerce. Most transactions were handled with smaller coins like half cents, cents, and half dollars. This scarcity is one of the reasons why any surviving dollar coin from this era is so incredibly valuable today. Collectors know that only a handful were struck, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. The design of these coins is also worth examining. The obverse side featured a rendition of Lady Liberty, a powerful symbol of freedom and the American spirit. Her portrait was surrounded by stars representing the states of the Union. On the reverse side, the majestic eagle was shown, often with a shield across its chest, arrows in one talon, and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing both strength and peace. These design elements were not random. They were chosen to project the ideals of a growing nation, one that valued both independence and diplomacy. The artistry of early mint engravers gave these coins a timeless quality that collectors admire even today. When you hold an 1825 to 1829 $1 coin from the Philadelphia Mint, you are not just holding metal. You are holding a piece of American heritage from the age of John Quincy Adams, an era when the United States was finding its identity on the world stage. These coins were minted in such low numbers that even in their own time they were rare. The rarity has only increased over the centuries as coins were lost, melted down for their silver content, or simply worn out in circulation. Numismatists, or coin collectors, often talk about the concept of survival rate. This refers to how many coins from a given year and minting still exist today. For the 1825 to 1829 coin, the survival rate is extremely low. Estimates suggest that only a small handful remain in collectible condition, and even fewer exist in mint state, meaning the coin has survived without significant wear. It is these high-grade coins that command the highest prices at auction and in private sales. In the coin collecting world, rarity drives value, but so does condition. When an 1825 to 1829 p mint mark $1 coin appears on the market, collectors go into a frenzy, bidding enormous sums to add it to their collection. The most recent sales have pushed the value of these coins to the incredible figure of $8 million. That is not just the price of silver. That is the price of history, artistry, and the unbroken chain of ownership that connects modern collectors to the days of John Quincy Adams. It is worth pausing to think about how these coins were used in daily life. Imagine someone in the 1820s holding this coin, perhaps using it to buy goods at a general store or to settle a debt. At that time, a dollar carried significant purchasing power. It could buy a considerable amount of food or household goods. Today, the same coin is not just money but a museum piece, a rare artifact that has transcended its original purpose. Over the decades, the story of these coins has only grown more compelling. Each time one of them appears at auction, it makes headlines in the numismatic community. Collectors travel from around the world to catch a glimpse of it and to bid for the chance to own a tangible link to early American history. Ownership of such a coin is a matter of prestige. It signals that the collector has not only wealth but also a deep appreciation for the craftsmanship and history of the United States Mint. The Philadelphia Mint itself also plays a starring role in this story. In the 1820s, the mint was still a relatively small operation compared to what it would become later in the 19th century. Each coin was struck with care, and the limited production meant that errors, die varieties, and other small details are especially important to collectors. Some of these coins display slight variations in design, which makes them even more unique and desirable. These small differences can dramatically affect a coin's value and add to the excitement of collecting. Let us also take a moment to reflect on John Quincy Adams, the president whose term coincided with the minting of these rare coins. Adams was a man of principle and intellect, fluent in several languages, and dedicated to the idea of expanding education and infrastructure. While his presidency was not always popular, he is remembered as a visionary who saw the importance of building a strong and educated nation. His connection to this coin adds an additional layer of historical significance. For collectors, owning an 1825 to 1829 dollar coin is like owning a piece of the Adams legacy. The rise in the value of this coin over the years has been nothing short of remarkable. In earlier decades, it might have sold for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. As interest in rare coins has grown, the price has soared, and now it stands at a breathtaking $8 million. That makes it not just one of the most valuable dollar coins ever produced but also one of the most valuable collectibles of any kind. Collectors often ask, what makes a coin worth millions? The answer lies in a combination of factors: rarity, condition, historical importance, and demand. The 1825 to 1829 Philadelphia Mint marked dollar coin has all of these factors in abundance. It is rare, with very few examples known. It is historically important, tied to the presidency of John Quincy Adams and to the early years of the American Republic. In top condition, it is a work of art. And the demand from collectors is immense, driving the value ever higher. For those who dream of finding such a coin, the reality is that it is unlikely to turn up in pocket change or even in most coin collections. These coins are usually held by major collectors, museums, or estates. However, the story of the coin inspires countless people to take a closer look at their change, their inherited collections, or even the forgotten jars of coins in their attic. While you might not stumble upon an $8 million coin, you never know what treasures could be hiding in plain sight. As we move toward the conclusion of this deep dive, let us summarize why the 1825 to 1829 p mint mark 6th President dollar coin is so special. First, it is tied to a significant moment in American history, the presidency of John Quincy Adams. Second, it is incredibly rare, with only a handful surviving to the present day. Third, it features beautiful and symbolic designs that capture the spirit of the young nation. And finally, its value has soared to $8 million, making it one of the crown jewels of American numismatics. So the next time you hear about rare coins being worth millions, remember that behind every headline is a story of history, artistry, and human passion. The 1825 to 1829 dollar coin is not just a piece of silver. It is a testament to the early struggles and triumphs of the United States. It is a reminder of the vision of John Quincy Adams and the skill of the engravers at the Philadelphia Mint. And above all, it is a symbol of the enduring fascination that coins can hold for people across generations. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the story of the 1825 to 1829 P Mint Mark's 6th President $1 coin. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the 1996 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. This small copper-plated piece of metal might not look like much at first glance, but hidden behind its simple design is a treasure trove of history, artistry, and an astonishing market value that has reached as high as $52,836. Yes, you heard that right, a single 1-cent coin struck in 1996 without a mint mark has been valued in the tens of thousands of dollars. Today we are going to explore every aspect of this rare penny, from its background and creation to why certain examples are so valuable, and of course how you might be able to recognize one if you ever stumble upon it in your change. So grab a seat, because this will be a journey through American coinage history like you have never experienced before. Let us begin with the background of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny made its first appearance in 1909, introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design was a bold choice at the time. Until then, American coinage had never featured a real historical person, rather it leaned on symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. The introduction of the Lincoln cent was monumental, and it quickly became one of the most beloved and widely used coins in circulation. The original designer was Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian-born sculptor, whose initials VDB were originally placed prominently on the reverse side of the coin. However, controversy soon followed. Many people at the time believed the initials were too large and felt it was inappropriate to give such credit on national coinage, so the mint quickly removed them shortly afterward, though the initials did return in much smaller form on the obverse beneath Lincoln's shoulder, where they remain today. Fast forward to 1959, when the reverse design was changed from wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This change ushered in a new chapter for the penny, and this is the design that was still in use when the 1996 penny was struck. So by 1996 the penny had already been circulating for nearly 9 decades, and it had become the most recognizable and most commonly used coin in American life. Millions upon millions were minted each year, and that brings us to the important part of our story now. Usually the mint mark on Lincoln cents serves as a guide to where the coin was struck. Coins from Denver carry the D mint mark, those from San Francisco carry the S, and those from Philadelphia usually either have no mint mark or, beginning in 2017, started to display the P mark. Now for the 1996 Lincoln penny, most examples you will see were minted either in Philadelphia without a mint mark or in Denver with the D mint mark. So what exactly makes the no mint mark versions from this year so special? The answer lies in condition, rarity, and the tiny details that collectors obsess over. At first glance, any penny without a mint mark from 1996 may appear common, and in fact hundreds of millions were produced at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark at all. But not every no mint mark penny is valuable. The truth is, the real value comes from condition, errors, and collector demand. What sets apart those rare specimens worth tens of thousands is their pristine state of preservation, combined with striking quality and sometimes unusual errors. Imagine this: a coin that was struck but never really circulated. It escaped the fate of being passed from hand to hand, stuffed in pockets, rattling in jars, or tossed in piggy banks. Instead, it survived in mint state condition, bright red, lustrous, and flawless. Such coins are graded by professional services on a scale known as the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. Now here is the catch: most pennies, even those pulled fresh from circulation, will grade far lower due to scratches, marks, or dulling. However, those rare examples that manage to reach the grade of mint state 67, 68, or even higher are where the real value lies. A 1996 no mint mark penny in top mint state condition has sold at auction for up to $52,836. Collectors go wild for coins like this because their population is so small. Only a handful exist in such pristine condition despite the millions that were struck. But how did this happen? Why are some coins so perfect, while others are not at all, comes down to the striking process, storage, and luck. At the Philadelphia Mint in 1996, millions of pennies were struck every day on high-speed presses. Coins would tumble into large bins and be bagged and shipped across the nation. In that process, many coins would bump into one another, causing nicks, scratches, and imperfections. Only a few coins would escape these mishaps and survive in virtually flawless condition. Those are the ones that decades later collectors prize above all else. Now let us talk about era coins, because this is another major factor in value. While the 1996 no-mint mark penny is valuable in mint state condition, certain errors can push its value even higher. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, and in 1996, just as in other years, a handful of dramatic mistakes slipped through the cracks. Examples include off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned, double die errors where the image appears doubled, or even coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the coin was made on metal meant for a dime or nickel. These era coins are extremely rare, and each one tells its own unique story. Collectors will pay thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, depending on the type and severity of the era. Now let us turn for a moment to the broader history of the penny itself to understand why collectors are willing to pay so much. The penny is a coin that has symbolized American history from the days of wheat ears through the memorial design, and now the shield reverse, introduced in 2010 through wars, depressions, economic booms, and technological revolutions. The penny has remained a constant presence in American pockets. It is more than a coin, it is a symbol of endurance, and Lincoln himself represents honesty, integrity, and leadership, which adds even more meaning for collectors. The emotional connection to Lincoln and his legacy cannot be underestimated. By the 1990s, pennies were still being struck in enormous numbers, but their composition had already changed since 1982. Before that, pennies were made mostly of copper. Afterward, they became primarily zinc with a thin copper plating. The 1996 no-mint mark penny is made of this modern copper-plated zinc, and while that might make it seem ordinary, the rarity of high-grade specimens transforms it into something extraordinary. When you hold a 1996 penny, you are holding not just a piece of change, but a piece of American history that could, in rare cases, be worth more than a brand new car. Let us also consider the role of grading services like PCGS and NGC in shaping the value of these coins. Professional grading authenticates and certifies the quality of coins, and collectors rely heavily on these certifications. A penny graded mint state 67 read by PCGS, for example, can command astronomical prices, while an ungraded or lower grade version might only be worth a few dollars. This gap shows how important preservation is in numismatics. So what should you look for if you want to find one of these treasures? First, check the date 1996 and look carefully to see if there is no mint mark below the date. If it lacks AD or S, you are looking at a Philadelphia issue. Then examine the condition. Is the coin bright and red with almost no scratches? Does it look as though it just came from the mint? If so, you may have something special. Next, consider having it graded by a professional service, especially if it looks flawless under magnification. Even minor details can make a world of difference. Now let us talk about the market itself. Coin values fluctuate based on supply, demand, and collector interest. While not every 1996 no-mint mark penny will be worth $52,000, the fact that one has sold for that price means that the top end of the market is alive, and while even lower-grade mint state coins can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, while circulated examples are usually only worth face value, but the allure of finding that one special coin keeps collectors hunting and dreaming. This is part of the magic of coin collecting. It combines history, art, treasure hunting, and investment all in one. As we continue exploring the story of this coin, it is worth asking why people place such high value on tiny metal discs. When we step back, we see that coins like the 1996 no-mint mark penny represent more than money. They are historical artifacts. Each coin is a witness to its time, reflecting the technology, economy, and culture of the era. When it was struck in 1996, the world was changing rapidly. The internet age was dawning, cell phones were becoming mainstream, and America was heading into a new millennium. Yet the penny remained virtually unchanged since 1959. That continuity amidst change is part of its charm. Collectors often talk about the thrill of the hunt. Many have stories of searching through jars of change or rolls of coins from the bank in hopes of finding that elusive rarity, perhaps somewhere in circulation today. There still lies a nearly perfect 1996 penny waiting to be discovered, perhaps in someone's old piggy bank or tucked away in a forgotten drawer. Stories like this fuel the imagination and keep numismatics alive. As we reach the conclusion of this journey,